Hi, I'm Bernice Tan, and today I'm going to teach you on how to do a proper bend over row. And this exercise can be done anywhere, and all you need is simply just a resistance band. Okay, right here today with me, I have Keith as my model who will help to demonstrate on how to do a proper bend over row. Okay, Keith, so firstly I need you to step in the bend and make sure that the bend is actually in the middle of your foot so that the weight is centered. Can you do that for me? And as you do that, I want you to hinge your hips so as to push your butt backwards. And when you push your butt backwards, you have to make sure that your knee is a little bit bent. And make sure that your shoulders don't come down and your neck is not elevated, it's at a nice and neutral position. Are you comfortable? Alright, and right here what you need to do is actually, I need you to pull the band towards you. And as you pull the band towards you, I need you to make sure that your shoulders don't come down. And slowly release. Yeah. And as you do the exercise, do you feel it in between your shoulder blades? Yeah. And while you're doing this exercise, the proper breathing technique is actually, as you pull, I want you to breathe in. And as you pull out, do it slowly so you can feel your muscles contracting and breathe out. Can you demonstrate properly again a few times on how to do this exercise? Breathe in and breathe out slowly. Breathe in, pull, and breathe out slowly. Alright, that's great. Okay, so for the first common mistakes that a lot of people make when they do a bend over row is actually the elevation of the neck. So that's not what we want. We want the neck to be at a nice and neutral position. So I'm just going to demonstrate one time on how the neck is always at a wrong position when they're doing a bend over row. So when you're doing a bend over row, you should make sure that your eyes are looking at the ground ahead of you, and all you have to do is just look ahead and pull. But a common mistake that people do is they keep their neck elevated and they pull. And what you're doing here is actually straining your neck, or they're sinking their neck too low, and this might actually hurt your neck in the long run. Alright, the second common mistake that a lot of people make during a bend over row is actually using their shoulders and not their legs. And how to spot the mistakes is very simple. You can see that Keith is actually flaring his elbows and his shoulders are moving up and down. And that's not what we want in a bend over row, because we want to activate the lats instead. So how we can make sure that he does it properly is to make sure that he keeps his shoulders down, and as he pulls, his elbow is close to his waistline so that he's only activating his legs and not moving the shoulders up and down. Okay, for the progressive exercise, it's actually very simple. Instead of using resistance band, we can use weighted dumbbells instead. By using a weighted dumbbell, you are actually adding more weight and resistance to the exercise. So the plane of motion is actually still the same. Hinge your hips, bend your knees a little bit, and imagine as I'm holding the weighted dumbbells, you are still pulling the dumbbells close to you, and let go. And for regressive exercise, it's actually just to use a lighter resistance band or no resistance band at all, and just practice the motion of pulling it closer to your waist. Yeah. Okay, right now I have Keith, my model, to demonstrate an alternative to the bend over row. And what this is actually a seated row, so we are still working on the same group of muscles. So right now, Keith, can you put the band in between your feet again? And this is almost exactly the same as the bend over row, just that right now Keith is sitting down and his head, he should be looking in front of him, look straight. And as he pulls, his shoulders should not be moving that much, and his elbow should be kept close to his waist as well. And he's pulling the band towards his waist. Yeah. And as he do that, the breathing technique is actually the same as the bend over row. As he pulls, he should be breathing in, and when he let go and contracts it, he should be breathing out. Okay, Keith. Breathe in and breathe out slowly. Yeah. Alright, so for the muscle groups work during a bend over row, most importantly is actually the prime mover, the primary agonist, which is the latissimus dorsi, also known as the lats, as you can see over here as he pulls. Okay, so for the other muscles work over here will actually be the medial trapezius and the rhomboids, which acts as the fixator, the synergies, which actually acts around the joint of the agonist, which is the lats. So the medial trapezius and the rhomboids right over here. So for the other muscle group, which is the antagonist in the bend over row, is actually the core, the relaxing or lengthening of the muscle. Just right over here, his core. And the other muscle groups work are actually the posterior deltoids, the erector spinae, his glutes and hamstring, and lastly, the biceps brachii. According to ACSM guideline, for the rest interval for the bend over row exercise will actually be from 1 minute to 2 minutes, and the best recommended amount will be 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps, but this will also depend on the client's age and fitness level. Okay, when doing the bend over row, should you feel any point of discomfort or pain, you should stop the exercise immediately. But it's also important to take note that muscle soreness is very common after such exercises. However, if you feel a sharp pain or persistent pain that doesn't go away in days, you should seek professional help for it. Thank you, and remember to work out safely.